Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Listen and grow as Del questions the status quo, encourages you to think differently, and empowers you to make a better life. Get ready as Del challenges core beliefs, seeks the truth, and reveals the roadmap to the lifestyle you really want. And now your host, multi-millionaire, national award-winning investor, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. Today, my friends, I'm going to dig deeper into the mailbag, the stuff that I wanted to cover yesterday that I couldn't get to. And I want to make sure that you get some of this material because it's really where the rubber meets the road. Kind of important stuff. My address, if you want to contact me, is askdel@luinc.com. So it's askdel@luinc.com. It's me answering your questions, no one else. I take my own emails and so forth. So if you got something, send it to me, and we'll see if we can get it. If it's good, we'll think about putting it on the radio as a question. So I'm going to start with this email here. The guy's talking about, thanks for hosting the 2-day. I originally attended back when you hosted in 2010 or 11. Past November, I attended again with David Fisher. It was great. Okay. Then he goes into this, what I think is important paragraph. He says, I've learned much due to your company, Lifestyles Unlimited. It set the foundation for me to quadruple, maybe even higher my net worth at my own pace. Well, that's an interesting statement right there. How many of you out there would dream of quadrupling your net worth? That's an interesting concept. Many of you, most of you probably would never believe it. This guy didn't believe it either when he started. Most people don't until it happens. The second point of that sentence was he did it at his own pace. We all have a different propensity. Some of us get up every day and we're just shot out of a cannon. Others, like myself, we're more laid back. We take life a step at a time. And if you push us too hard, we really kind of just go off on our own. I was never able to be very successful in team sports because I couldn't take some coach guy yelling at me and screaming at me that I wasn't trying hard enough when I was trying as hard or harder than anybody else on the team. And it's the reason I picked this email is because of that very statement, at my own pace. Because if you can't do it at your own pace, you won't keep doing it. And so there are guys out there that are just crazy lunatic internet fools that are saying they're billionaires in a year or two. I don't know how you become one, but they said they are. There's guys out there that, say they're making hundreds of millions of dollars in a year or two. I don't know how they do that. I took my whole life to do something like that. And so when these people are screaming at the top of their lungs that they're making these astronomical hundreds of millions of dollars, I first think to myself, well, why are you on the internet screaming at the top of your lungs then? How does that really benefit you to be spending all that time? I was talking to a guy who came out to my house, it was a vendor, and he wanted to know if he should go on the radio and advertise his, service. And I said, well, do you really want 1,000 more customers? Do you really want to be that busy? Then you're going to have to hire people because right now you do all the work, you and your son. Do you really want to do all that work, add up all that additional work, or do you want to hire people? Now you have to have employees and everything. And the guy just cringed. He was like, no, I don't want to do all that. I said, okay, well, that's not the way to go then. You need passive streams of income. And you could see it perplexed him because in his mind, the only way he could see making money was to work more. And so here he is. I don't know what age he was. Looked to be in his 50s, maybe. Son maybe in his 30s. And he and his son were out there doing this work, servicing these products of mine. And I couldn't help but think, but they're never going to get away from that. And their son, his son, is already in it up to his eyeballs. So he's going to take over the family business and be driving around in a service truck the rest of his life. Now, I'm not putting him down for that. I'm just saying, here is a situation where you can't conceive that this stuff works. You can't perceive it. I took the time to walk the guy around my house. It probably looked like bragging, but I just wanted him to see how people live that have figured it out. I said, do you understand? I'm here today speaking with you, watching you do my servicing because I don't have a job. I don't have to get up and go to work. And it just kind of, I think it put him off, to be honest with you. He had this glazed look on his face like, there's no way. This doesn't really exist. You got lucky, something, right? So he goes on and says, real estate has been in my portfolio since Moon Kim sold me my first single-family house in Spring, Texas. By the way, that was the same Moon Kim before he quietly achieved superstardom success. Laugh out loud. Moon Kim is one of my real estate agents who has won the Houston Real Estate Agency Award, Houston Association of Realtors Award for top agent 4 of the last 5 years. And he's been in it for 10 years. He's been one of the top 5 for 10 years. He's over the top best. And you think about it, he is finding all these great deals for people and changing people's lives. So this gentleman right here got his life changed by Moon Kim. He goes, I don't have Donald Trump money, but I'm comfortable because what I've learned in LU, I had to stick to my pace and keep my own score. That's always the way to improve. Thank you for what you do. Glad to see you're more visible again, and happy days ahead. Yeah, it's interesting, guys, that I resonate with this guy. If you're out there right now and you think you're going to come in here and there's going to be a bunch of multimillionaires going to be pushing you around and telling you got to get going, it's aggressive, type approach to life. That's not what happens. You come in here, you meet incredible people, you learn how to do this stuff, and then you work at it at your own pace. And you build your portfolio as you deem necessary. So now when I work with people, the first thing I do is figure out what they want to do. What do they want to accomplish? So I'm going to write this next email so you can understand what type of verbalization I get on a daily basis from people. And it tells you that I'm not just making this stuff up. So let's go ahead and share this. We'll get into it and we'll break it down a little bit here. It says, I want to start by saying I have a decent job, but I want more. All right, so there's a very basic statement. I got a job, but I want more. I'm about 10 years from retirement, but have looked into that possibility and have realized I won't have the retirement lifestyle I would like to have for my wife and me. So how many of you have actually looked into your retirement possibilities and find out that the average person retires on Social Security and just a few dollars more than that? It's a scary thing, and that's when many people join lifestyles. They wake up to that there is going to be no retirement discussion with their financial planner or whoever it is they go and look it up with. Goes on and says, I have a little savings, except for I have little savings, in other words, none, except for a 401k that doesn't have enough value to sustain anything besides paying bills. I feel stuck. All right, you feel the pain? I mean, he's bearing his soul now. I've listened to your program many times and get excited when I hear the possibilities. I'm not good at finance or real estate, but I am a hard worker. A lot of people really wonder that in life. Because I'm such a hard worker, why am I not ahead? Well, doing more of what doesn't work doesn't work. Vince Lombardi has a great saying. He says, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. I live here in Houston, and we have a team called the Rockets. It's a basketball team. And for the last 2 years, they've had a coach that wasn't very good and players that weren't very good. And they weren't winning. In fact, they were the losingest team in the NBA 2 years in a row. And so this year, they decided to change that. They hired a new coach, an aggressive coach, a good coach. And hired a couple pros and put them on the team. And then they had these 6 or 8 rookies that they had accumulated over the last 2 years because they kept losing, which meant they got high draft choices. All of a sudden, this team is rocking and rolling. They've won 8 out of their last 9 games, 7 games in a row, and they're just on fire. And the reason is because now they have somebody leading them that can see that you can win. They also picked up 2 pros that have been on championship teams. They have rings. They've actually won the whole thing before. So they know what it is to get there, right? So they know that the hard work is important if you have the right map. But if you have the wrong map, if you're going to the wrong place, working harder and faster doesn't get you any closer to the goal. That's the hard part to understand. You can work as hard and as fast as you want, and you won't get there because you got the wrong map. Covey talks about this. He says, imagine if you went to a city you've never been to Detroit, and because of a printing error, the map was really a map of Chicago. He goes, imagine the frustration, the ineffectiveness, the bother. Think about am I crazy? Am I just not reading this right? In other words, you're doing everything you were told to do. Go to school, get good grades, get out, go to college, get good grades, get out, get a job, get a good job, work hard every week, get up early, go to work hard, stay late. All the stuff you've been told to do, you did. And it didn't get you where you want to be. That's the kind of frustration Covey talks about in his book, and that I see all the time. Guy goes on and says, I have putting my blood, sweat, and tears into growing a company for someone else. That's always sad. My dad did that. I saw him go through that pain where he helped build this company from the ground up. He came in as the accountant for the company at the beginning of the company, and he built it from the ground up. And then when the guy that owned it got old, he gave it to his son, who had never even run the business. And his son was like 25, 28 years old. My dad was now 50, 60 by then. He just gave it to his son. Just bypassed my dad, who should have been put in charge, made the president of the company, and so on. And so my dad got frustrated. And he went out and he bought one branch of this business, one city's part of it, and ran it himself and worked in his business for the rest of his life till he died. Because he didn't understand how to make it all work. This gentleman goes on and says, I'm terrified of leaving the security of my current job, but the winds of change are blowing here, and things are getting difficult. That happens all the time. Companies are not stable forever. They can't be. They implode upon themselves. They get too big. I was talking about this the other day as akin to my palm trees. My palm trees just keep growing and growing and growing until they get so large that they can't support. The base of them can't support the top of them, and they topple over and break and destroy things as they come falling down. And that's what companies do. They just get so big and so large and so out of control that they come toppling down and take out a lot of people's lives if they do that, as they do that. That being said, I'm a failure at real estate, single-family rentals. In the past, he's been a failure. Of course, I had no direction or help. I know remodels. I survived for years working with my tools as a contractor. That wasn't the path to success either. So this guy has said single-family rental properties don't work, and they don't work because he did them wrong. And he had, in the same breath, he admits he did them wrong, but he also won't admit that there's a right way to do it. And that if you did it the right way, then you wouldn't have those problems that people have. I tell you all the time, real estate's a very forgiving business. A lot of people figure out how to do it semi-effectively. But it's not about right and wrong. It's about effective, more effective, and massively effective, right? It's about the right practices of life, doing it the right way. He goes on and says, I'm apprehensive about getting into the program because I know there are so many scams out there headed up by very good salespeople. I'm in no way insinuating that Lifestyles is a scam. I guess I'm just looking for proof or maybe a peace of mind to help me push me over the edge. Hey, there are tons of scams out there, and they are run by great salespeople. There's no doubt about it. I totally agree with you. The only thing I can say is I've been here 34 years, and maybe that's time-tested. We'll take a short break, be right back with this email and a bunch more. And the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
roadmap to creating the lifestyle you really want. Keep listening. The Del Walmsley Radio Show returns in moments.
Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa on how our educators and mentors share their knowledge.
The whole Lifestyles Unlimited team is just wonderful, and all the people in it, it's basically copying what I do so you could be successful.
Lifestyles Unlimited, over 33 years teaching the real estate retirement roadmap. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Enter code 2024. Join the Financial Freedom Program for just $297 for 2 years. That's GiveMeTotalFreedom.com, code 2024.
You're hearing the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Want more life-changing knowledge? Access our podcast and listen on demand at lifestylesunlimited.com under the radio tab. Now your host, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. As we went to break in the last segment, I was reading an email from a gentleman who's living a life of quiet desperation. He realizes that, but he's afraid. You know, he's afraid of getting scammed. Everybody's afraid of getting scammed. I'm afraid of getting scammed. I just walk into things a little more with a little more due diligence than most people. But doesn't mean I'm not afraid of getting scammed. Well, now that I think about that, I guess I'm not afraid of getting scammed because I don't let myself get in positions where I can get scammed. So to this gentleman here, he comes back and he says this. He says, I know there's no magic wand or even get-rich-quick path, but I feel I would be aggressive in building a new life. I don't even know what I'm looking for from you in this email. I can imagine you've come across many people like me in your journey through this life. Is there some advice you can give them that could impart on me to help build the courage? So you see what he's asking? He's saying, I know I need what you guys are doing over there. I need that in my life. I think I'd be pretty good at it. I could get aggressively excited about it. But I'm afraid of getting scammed, and basically I'm afraid. And so what can you tell me to change that fear? The only thing I can tell you is that fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. If it is real, right? If it is real that this is a scam, then how could I stay in business for 34 years? How could I be on the radio I think I've been on the radio 25 years. And share these stories, share the deals that have been done, you know, have case studies where people get on and talk about the deals they've done. How can all that exist without somebody coming back and saying it's not true and trying to blow it out of the water? You see, that's the first step. The second step is you stick your toe inside and you go to a free workshop. Doesn't cost you anything to go to a free workshop if you want a free workshop. Now, you can join up without going to a free workshop, or you can go to a free workshop, whichever you prefer to do. Some people need that free workshop to get a better sense of what we do and who we are. Other people go, look, I've listened to you on the radio for years. I know exactly what you're doing. I just wasn't ready. Boom, I need to join up. You go to our website, you can take either choice. You can get in for the free workshop and or you can sign up. But that's your next step. If you go touch base, go to one of our case studies, meet our members, ask the members if it's real, meet the people doing the case studies and see that they are real, right? That's what's important. Now that you've done that, then you invest a small amount of money. Our $740 membership's on sale right now for $297. Folks, you go out and spend more than that on a meal. If you're taking out 4 or 5 people, you know, husband, wife, and a couple kids, $300 is a meal. $297 is the meal. I'm telling you. I know I go out with my wife and I, and it's $200. If we had a couple kids with us, it's $400. So you can afford to spend $297 to find out if you could change your life forever. I mean, come on. That's the next step. So this gentleman's name is Brett. Brett, take those steps. Go to the free workshop. Go to a case study. Sign up for the 2-day. 2 days of information that will change your life for only $297. Then whether or not you want to invest in real estate or not, you can make that decision. You don't have to jump in with both feet and go invest $1 million. Just go see what it would take to do single families more correctly than you did them before when you had problems with them. Go see. You'll sit there, 99% of the people that have had rental properties before they come here go, man, I wish I would have known that before I did this stuff. And some of them even had success. But the best practices you will learn will blow your mind. You go, that's almost 100% counterintuitive to everything I thought to be true. And it is. Success is counterintuitive. Being a middle-class person has to do with a middle-class set of beliefs. To be a financially successful person, it takes a different set of beliefs. So he goes on here and says, thank you for taking the time to read this email. I feel good putting it down in words, but I'm still shaking as I write this. I guess I'm looking for a push or maybe even a gentle nudge. Hey, Brett, gentle nudge. Go look us up. Get in here. Touch base. Do something. We're here. We can help you. We've been here for a long time, and you'll meet lots of people that tell you that it's real. But you've got to take that first step. So moving on to the next email, real short one. It says, hey, Del, from age 23 to age 28 today, that's 5 years he's been doing this, I've purchased 3 houses with $50,000 to $55,000 in equity in each one. I'm making a combined cash flow of $1,000 a month from these houses, and I'm working full-time. I'm wondering, what do you suggest I do to make sure that I'm growing in the most effective way possible from this point on in life, considering I currently have $10,000 to invest of investable funds? Should I find a partner? Should I buy only 1 or 2 more houses? Or should I try to refinance the portfolio and buy another house? My answer to him when I brought this up before, another email time, and said, do them all. You know, here you are. His own pace is 3 houses in 5 years. In 2.5 years, I bought 106 houses. So I have a propensity for doing things once I figured them out. I'm slow until I figure them out. Once I figure them out, it's just like boom, 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 boom. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And at this point, you're going to run into the fact you can find more great deals than you have cash to buy in many people's situation. His situation's got 10,000 more. He can go out and buy 1 more house with that 10,000, right? Should he do that? Maybe, maybe not, because maybe he needs to stay liquid and go out there and find a partner that can put up the money to do the deals. I found partners that were willing to put up the money for 75% of the profit. I took 25% of the profit, but I didn't have to come up with any more money, and I stayed liquid so that I could be sure that I could operate the properties and still pay for myself to survive without becoming illiquid. I've seen a lot of people start partnerships with broke, poor people. And at the beginning, I was broke but not poor. I was not a poor person. I could get a job. I could make good money, or at least survivable money. And I had money in the bank. So I never let myself get completely broke. So in this case, this gentleman's got a question. What do I do? You do it all. Do as much of it as you want. Get as wealthy as you want, as quickly as you want. All right, the next one is, hi, Del. After listening to you read the email from that lame brain who complained about your trash in California, I had to write. And please feel free to read part of this email on the program. Mr. Lame Brain obviously knows nothing about Marxism. Call it progressivism if you like, socialism if you like, or communism. It's all the same. The elites rule the great unwashed, the proletariat, because they are superior and know better. I grew up in communist country, Hungary. I left there when I was 13 years old. My grandparents worked all their lives to buy land and had 14 children to help them work it. When our great liberators came in during World War I, and they declared my grandparents kulaks, whatever that is, and took away their land. Needless to say, that destroyed my grandparents. Many others suffered under their rule. I'd say most people, unlike you, were part of the Communist Party who did not flourish. All I can wish for anyone who espouses Marxism is in any form is please go and live in a country of your choice. Go to Venezuela, to Cuba, to NOCO, to China. I'll donate my money to send you on your way. And when you've had enough and beg to come back, you should do public service and tell people about how wonderful America is and how terrible that experience is, instead of trying to destroy our wonderful country. As a Californian, my children and grandchildren are here, and it's a beautiful state. I won't be leaving anytime soon, but I hope people will come to their senses and start voting conservatively. As far as libertarians are concerned, I'm mostly with you. I am or would be a libertarian, except this part of the country, it comes to borders. A country is a country at least if you have at least partially, because it has borders. Just like my house is mine because it has walls and a fence. Thank you for letting me get this off my chest. So basically what he's saying is what the Democrats have done right now is eliminated borders. And if there's no borders, there's no country. We have no country. We have no culture. We have no way of life. And we're giving it all away. We're giving everything that we have and have developed and built. We're giving it away. And I just thought he had an interesting perspective. If you like that world, why don't you go live in that world instead of try to change this wonderful world that we live in, where opportunity is great, where you can fear making mistakes like the emails we read today, because that's your right to take chances, to live in fear, to be successful, and to get ahead. Instead of living in a country where you have no choice. You can't make mistakes. The government won't let there be mistakes because it's a nanny state. Anybody and everybody who tries to get ahead would be shut down in a minute. And remember, how do you guarantee no failure? If you never try, you'll never fail. If you never do, you'll never have. If you're never going to have and know you'll never have, you'll never want. Because you can't even perceive that want could do you any good. That's the way this country is headed. I'm old, and I'm really sad to see it happen, but I'm really happy that I'm old because I'm hoping I can hang out here long enough that that world doesn't get created before I'm gone. Now, because I have children and grandchildren, I really hope you guys decide that freedom, whether it's financial freedom, social freedom, verbal freedom, freedom of speech, freedom to work, freedom to accumulate assets and wealth, I hope you someday realize those are what make this country great. You take those away, and this country is just as bad as the rest of the countries in this world. Have a great day, and remember this, it's not just money, it's that whole lifestyle thing. See you tomorrow.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley radio show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers. The Del Walmsley show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.